Poirot, is it true? Is she dead?
It is true, Monsieur Lane.
You remember our conversation yesterday about the reality of evil?
Colonel Weston has put me in charge of the investigation. There are some questions I therefore must put to you.
I understand.
Will you tell me of your movements today?
Willingly. Well, thanks to you, I spent a delightful day hiking over to St. Patrick in the Coombe. Started off round 8. The church is about 7 miles from here. A very pleasant walk up and down the Devon hills and valleys. I ate those sandwiches in a spinney. I visited the church. Oh, it has some fragments, only fragments, alas, of early glass. Also, a very interesting painted screen.
Did you see anyone? The vicar or the verger?
No, there was no one about, and I was the only visitor. It's a very remote spot.
Is there anything you heard or saw that can help us?
All I can tell you is this, that I knew, as soon as I saw her, that Arlena Marshall was a focus of evil. She was evil. Since Eve, woman has been man's downfall. She can drag him down to the level of the beast. Arlena Marshall was a woman such as Jezebel and Aholibah. Now she has been struck down in her wickedness.
No, not struck down. Strangled. Strangled, Monsieur Lane, by a pair of all too human hands. Monsieur Lane, why were you forced to leave your church in Brixham?
I told you. I became ill.
Press him, Hastings. Now! Did either Millie Parsons or Alice Corrigan belong to your church?
No, but I knew what they were. A man named Gideon Fell. An innocent schoolteacher hounded by police. He was a member of my flock.
Did you preach of Jezebel and Aholibah when Millie Parsons and Alice Corrigan were murdered?
The truth must be told. God's vengeance must be proclaimed.
Were you fired because of your beliefs?
I am not the first to be martyred for the truth.
I think that I have nothing more to say to you.
As you like.
Well done, Hastings. I think that if Monsieur Lane wishes to see the true nature of evil, he need only gaze into his own mirror.
Hello? Need the sea tractor, do you?
Yes, please?
On me way. Is it true Mrs. Castle has seen U-boats off the island? I suppose it must be. She spends hours up in the tower at the hotel. The invasion must be near then, just as they say in all the papers. Colonel Weston has the Home Guard on the alert.
Ah, Major Barry.
It's true then? Mrs. Marshall has been murdered?
It is true.
Shocking. Most shocking. Of course I can tell you after being in an Indian hill station. What you don't know about human nature isn't worth knowing. Matter of fact, this reminds me of a case in Simla. Fellow named Robinson. Was it Ramsler? Anyway, he was in the East Wilts, or was it the North Surreys?
Major Barry.
Doesn't matter really. Quiet chap, you know. Went for his wife one evening in their bungalow, got her by the throat. She'd been carrying on with some fellow or other. By Jove, he nearly did for her too. Surprise us all. Quiet chap like that.
You see an analogy to this case?
Well, that is to say, never said anything about Marshall. Quiet, but a thoroughly nice chap. Wouldn't say a word against him in the world.
You were not at the hotel today?
No, wanted to do some telephoning. The post office here isn't very private, so I drove over to Kingsbridge. Had a bit of bother with the motor earlier on, but young Jenks patched it up, so off I went. Almost ran down that fool cat and dog on my way up the high street.
You were quite taken with Mrs. Marshall, were you not?
You know I was, man. Have the decency to let that drop, will you?
It is a case of murder, Major Barry. Poirot does not let anything drop. What time did you leave?
Just before 10.
What time did you return?
Only just now.
The drive? It is that long?
Well, no. Bit embarrassing for an old campaigner like me, but I got lost. These confounded lanes, twisting and turning all over the place. Damn confusing part of the world.
Did you speak to anyone in Kingsbridge?
Want me to prove an alibi, eh? Saw about 50,000 people in Kingsbridge, but that's not to say they'll remember seeing me. Was there anything else?
Can you think of anything else?
Nothing. I'm out of it. Right out of it. My motor car is running like new, Mr. Jenks. Thank you.
My pleasure, Major. Thanks to you, Mr. Poirot. I found a winch handle for you. Well, what do you want with a winch if you haven't a sailboat?
One must start somewhere, my friend. Are there any telegrams for me?
I'll just check. Of course, sir.
Ah, there you are, Poirot. What can I do for you?
Do you have the background checks on the suspects?
Yes, here they are.
Any news on Jimmy Nash, the photographer?
I haven't received the report yet, but your inquiry got Scotland Yard very excited about something.
I will be curious to hear what they find. Au revoir, monsieur.
Like a ride to the island?
Yes, please.
Let's be off then. I have a theory about the murder. What if it wasn't murder at all? It's suicide. I know what you're thinking. I know it's difficult to commit suicide by self-strangulation. But what if Miss Stewart was choking on something like a chunk of apple or something?
Can you row me to Cutter's Cove?
Mr. Poirot, after your efforts to find Millie's killer, I'll row you any time you like. You need only ask me. Climb in.
Hello, this seaweed wasn't here before. A sandwich tin. Good Lord.
You must taste it, of course, Hastings. But do not expect to find this is a box of powdered sugar.
Too right. A hidden passage. Now we're getting somewhere. For heaven's sake, it looks like an army has marched through here. Poirot, the invasion.
I think not, Hastings. These are not the footprints of many men, but of one man only, passing here many times. This is a useful point to measure the time it takes to reach Cutter's Cove, the spot that will be the scene of the murder. From the monastery ruins to Cutter's Cove via the tunnel, it is 11 minutes. This is a useful point to measure the time it takes to reach Cutter's Cove, the spot that will be the scene of the murder. From the Smuggler's Inn pub via the tunnel, it is 28 minutes. And that, my friend, should be the last timing we need to determine how much time would be needed for any of our suspects to reach Cutter's Cove. Of course, they must also make their way from the scene of the crime as well.
Hello, another compass. This wasn't here before. And it's smashed. No good at all anymore.
A stroke of luck, that. It will make things easier in the end.